The Bring a Trailer Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bring a Trailer Podcast. Alex Porter is my name, Director of Operations for the company. Not coming to you today from our studio in San Francisco because we are at Westside Classic Car Storage because our guest is Matt Farah.
Hello.
Thanks for doing this, Matt. We really appreciate it.
Thanks. I put the name of the place on the water so people can read it.
You saw my eyes shoot down, right?
Yeah. Read it when they do. Because sometimes they flip flop the C words.
Totally.
So,
and I was going to freeze up in the moment too,
but
right?
I put it on the water bottles and then I put it right a little close to your line of sight, and
That's
then
great.
Then you have no
it's great.
excuse. Yeah.
I believe it or not, I actually angled it. I was ready to go.
Well, when I put 5 water bottles on the table, yeah. How are you doing? Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us. We really appreciate it, man.
Thanks for coming to me. Make it easy.
Well, I mean, incredibly hospitable of you to have us. Love to talk about your background and everything, but I thought we could talk about the building a little bit first because it's so impressive. You just gave us a little tour. You said you opened this spot in 2020?
Yeah. We bought the property in 2016 and then opened in 2020.
4 years of construction.
Yeah. Well, it was like a year and a half of permitting and then 2.5 years of construction.
What did you say the number of trucks of cement it took to pour the thing?
The underground level, the walls and the floor of the underground level was 166 trucks, which we did in 18 hours.
They're just coming in one after another?
They were lined up all the way like a half a mile down the road.
What was your stability level? I presume you were standing there watching it all go down?
I didn't stand there for all 18 hours, but I did stand there and watch for a bunch of it. Yeah. And it is really something. And I'm pretty sure I put an apologetic post on Instagram, like I'm like a pretty considerate person is just like a thing of mine. I like to be considerate. I don't like to be in the way. I don't like to be blocking things.
Sure.
And I took a picture of all the trucks and put them on Instagram and I was like, sorry, LA, today, like it's me.
Yeah.
Like it's not normally and ever since then, when I see a line of trucks, whether they're dump trucks or I'm a little more sympathetic. They have to be there.
Of course.
They didn't choose that day.
How did the idea come about? I mean, you're, just kind of famous car personality guy, YouTuber, automotive journalist, all these things. But how did collector car storage come into your brain? Had you been thinking about it for a long time?
I mean, I certainly didn't invent any of this.
Sure. Although a little bit, you said you invented one thing out there.
Oh, the battery tender thing. Yeah, that I did. No, but I was a customer.
Yeah.
I was the customer, and I had been spoiled for a long time.
You were imagining what you would want if you were...
No, I was literally the customer.
Okay, gotcha.
I had too many cars. I didn't have anywhere to put them, and I went through the mathematical plan of, okay, well, I have these many cars, and here's where I live, and what are my options?
Yep.
Can I get storage units? Can I get a little building for myself? And it was like, very quickly, it was like, little building, math bad.
Yeah.
Slightly bigger building, math still bad. Still bad. Still bad.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until you got like an enormous building and it started an entire business that math got good.
Yeah.
And so it was like, well, okay. And I thought, if I had this problem, maybe other people in the area would have a similar problem and could use a solution.
Totally. And specifically in this area on the west side, right? I mean, you're close to LAX here and everything.
It's a hyper-local business.
Yeah.
I mean, fortunately, because I make videos and do things on the internet, it's a brand that's known by people who don't live here. But otherwise, there would be no reason to because our customers live very close. And actually, not only do a tremendous number of people live close to the facility, that's not entirely true. It's not a tremendous, but a significant percentage of people live either walking distance or a very short drive. A disproportionate number of the cars. 2 of my clients that are walking distance, just 2 people, represent between the 2 of them like 16 to 18% of the cars.
Holy crap. Wow.
So that happens. I got a couple of big collectors here. So that'll happen. But one of them can walk.
That's amazing.
So that person just shows up a lot, which is fine.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then you've got expansion plans. You're taking over the world. So you were saying you got another facility and a third on the way?
Yeah. I mean, crucially, not the world. Like that. No, seriously, because people, I've gotten emails and
I guess there's people who have these, you could franchise everywhere.
Can we franchise? You want to open one in Miami or San Francisco or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And, I grew up watching my father travel all over the world, looking at retail stores and factories for his businesses that he was in. Yeah, and I also, the guy I bought my Lamborghini Countach from, a guy named David, owns a bunch of restaurants in LA. And I compare his lifestyle to my father's. Both have like webs of businesses, right? But global versus local.
Yeah.
And David would just like 3 times, 4 times a week do a lap around LA of all the restaurants. And my dad is on like the red eye to Tokyo. And so given the hyper-local nature of this business, world domination, I have no interest in. I like, let's talk about like county, maybe county domination.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like maybe like a section of the county, but you know, between the 10 freeway and, you know, whatever. But
obviously, you know, putting this up and doing everything and running it was not so painful that you didn't want to do more, right?
Well, I mean, if you're a hustler, and I like to think I am a hustler.
I think you are. I think that's fair.
And if you're a hustler, you know, when you have one building and you are lucky enough and maybe smart enough and whatever that you sell out the building and now you're full, everyone you have to say, I'm sorry, we're full to, it feels like leaving money on 100%. The table. So the urge to grow is natural if you find success, I think.
There's a Bring a Trailer parallel there. We hate saying no to people, right?
Yeah.
We would like to have the capacity for everyone who has a car that we'd like to sell.
Yeah. And even here in Playa right now, and actually I think in our other store, we're sold out and we are on a waiting list right now.
Amazing.
Which is great. I mean, look, operating.
Yeah, congrats, dude. I mean,
our
that's
2023 was rough, actually. We had we had growth, pandemic era growth, and then we had quite a retraction right when the market turned in the first half of 23, which was right when we opened our second store.
Yeah, okay.
And so the second half of 23 and the beginning of 24 were scary.
Oof.
And I had bought the other building too.
Yeah. Oh, you're already like out on that one. You're already kind of committed.
Out.
Yeah.
I had one, you know, I had a building I couldn't really fill, and then another one that I had bought and was waiting to start renovations on, and I was sweating.
Jeez, dude.
But, you know, the things turned and we got whatever momentum or the market or the vibes or it was tax season or whatever, you know, whatever happened. We didn't change anything. Whatever happened, people came. They showed up eventually. And so like I said, I bought the building next door to that one. So I'm not opening a third facility, but I'm doubling the capacity of the second one.
The renderings look awesome. Thank you for sharing
and I mean, eventually, I kind of do.
You're definitely doing this stylishly. Like, it looks rad. And
we have designy friends.
Yeah.
But like, I kind of do know when enough is enough. I'm not that greedy. I don't need to take over the universe.
Yeah.
And if I had 4 or 5 of these around Southern California and could satisfy a market that needs it. I mean, yes, I want to make money. Yes, I want to have a commercial real estate portfolio. Yes, I think it's a cool business to be in and it suits my personality well. But I also think...
You don't want to suck up all your time though either, right? I mean, you want to keep pursuing your other things. Yeah, right.
No, making videos takes way more time than this for me and brings in way less money. I only continue to make videos because being out there and being on location at stuff and being in the places where car people are and all that is such a marketing advantage to this. I have to keep doing that.
But you still like it? You still like doing it?
Making videos, literally, no, I don't. I like writing. I like doing podcasts. I like being involved in the community.
Yeah. We're technically colleagues a little bit via Hearst. How much are you doing that these days? How much are you running?
Road and Track. I'm on the masthead.
I know you're on the masthead. 1 or 2 issues ago, I think it was, I read your SoCal driving piece, all the routes around SoCal, which was a rad piece, dude.
It was a good piece. I've been working on that one for a long time. I really wanted to do that one. And we had the cartographer.
Oh, dude, the maps were beautiful.
Yeah. Road and Track is really fun. It's probably my favorite thing I do.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, in terms of like, because I have the highest job you can get at the magazine before it starts to be less fun.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to go to
Are you
meetings.
editor at large? What's your title? That's the Peter Egan title. That's a great title.
It's by far the best magazine title to have because you only have to do fun gigs and you don't have to go to meetings.
Yes. Plus, it's just a sick title to get to say.
Yeah, it sounds like you're on the run.
Totally.
And I like the people I work with. I love it was the magazine I read growing up. So
same for me.
Writing there, you know, being the guy who reviews supercars for that magazine is quite the thing.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But that's I'm just kind of trying to get the idea of like what you're spending most of your time doing, whether it's the storage. I mean, you've got so many hustles, dude.
Look, the best thing, not the best thing, but a great thing about the storage business is we're in it right now.
Yep.
We're here. We're recording this show. So the media business and the storage business are complementary to each other. The storage business gets marketing and the media business gets a home.
Yeah.
Right. And they're both very useful to each other.
Yeah.
If I didn't have that need, if one business didn't need marketing and the other business didn't need a home, it would be a -2 for both.
100%.
You know?
Yeah, 100%.
And so that's just like a thing that like the business needs to serve like my life.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, crucially, the lives of my employees.
Yeah.
I really care about this kind of stuff. And I think that this sort of business, like, yes, it's fancy parking for rich people. Like it totally
But
is.
your guys are stoked. They were stoked to tell me about it as soon as I walked in.
It is. But also it allows those same rich people to live in a dense, semi-urban, semi-walkable, like I said, 18% of the thing, 2 guys who walk here.
Yeah.
You know, they live in a sort of community across the street that has lots of luxury housing units. And this is exactly like my idea of this, a fully walkable community.
When are you getting one? Are you going to get one of those?
Well, I live up the road, not far away.
You're not far. Okay,
I'm not far away, but a walkable community that has all of the things. And then on the outskirts of it, a regular ass parking garage for regular cars and then a fancy parking garage for the fancy cars. Like that's like, and so it allows these people to remain in this area and do their hobby as opposed to being like, well, I have 6 cars, so I have to move to Calabasas or Thousand Oaks or whatever.
Stick them all over the place, all those things.
That's not the primary reason for doing the business, but like from the outside, you don't know what's in here.
Yeah.
It doesn't make the neighborhood ugly. It doesn't look like parking. And it allows people who are contributing a decent amount to the tax base to remain in this area rather than flee.
Yeah.
So it's good for that kind of thing.
Totally.
And also, I live nearby, and my cars are here. So.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Is the Countach here? By the way,
that's actually the other thing that happens is that I say my cars are here. Meanwhile, they're at the other store because what happened? We filled this one up first. My cars are the
They get lowest priority, right?
Yeah, my cars are the first cars to get moved out.
Yes, for sure. Of course, they get the short shrift.
Yup. So they're all now far away. Yeah,
that's the downside of being the responsible business owner.
Right. I like money. You know what I mean? I could say no. I'm sorry. Like we're sold out, and like my cars are taking up 3 or 4 of the spaces, but I can't. I'm like no. Yes, I can't say no to your money. My cars can go somewhere else.
By the way, did the restaurateur who you bought that car from, did he do his big lap in the Countach ever? Did he ever actually drive it around as his like?
No, he actually.
What a sick thing if you were rolling up to all your restaurants in that car.
Well, he was sort of he had a stealth car.
Oh, interesting.
He had a very nice car collection. I mean, I don't know what his current status is. In fact, his house may have burned down. Palisades fire. But he would roll around to the restaurants in a beater old Honda CRV, first gen, just invisible and forgettable as it gets.
I kind of respect it.
I do respect it, and I knew exactly what he was doing. But on the other hand, I would need even if I wanted to do that, if I wanted a beater so that they didn't think I was skimming the tips or whatever, it would have to be something very comfortable.
Yeah. For sure.
They have to have a good seat.
Do you have an appreciation for vehicles like that? Do you still like to cruise around? My boss, the head of our auctions, Howard Swig, he loves like a rental Sonata. Like he has all these fancy cars and all this experience, but he gets excited sometimes about pedestrian cars. Does that ever?
Well, no, I mean, I love an appliance.
Yeah. Okay.
I absolutely love an appliance. We had a Ford Mach-E, which is a toaster
interesting.
For 3 years, but I mean, it really did serve its purpose. And here in LA, or to a certain degree in San Francisco, but definitely in LA, you're going light to light. You're sitting in traffic.
Yep.
It's 90-degree turns. You have your canyons. That's a separate thing. But every day, running errands, going to work, I love an EV.
You're pro Mach-E. Is that your fave?
Well, now I have the Taycan outside, the Taycan Cross Turismo.
That's the good shit.
That's the good shit.
Yeah,
and
totally.
so still an appliance, but in my opinion, a very elevated one.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand what you mean about like an invisible.
Sometimes, I mean, you've driven so many wild things.
Sure.
Sometimes, like, there's almost like a reversion. I've noticed it in other car people too, where like, kind of, there was a Chris Harris video where he's talking up the merits of the 2CV, like the 12 horse one. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
where you really simplicity or kind of pedestrian aspects or the nature of a car can kind of be exciting for somebody who's experienced so many things like yourself.
Between my wife and I, we have 8 cars, and it's a pretty big spread.
Okay.
I've got, the Countach, which is mid-restoration right now. It's been a saga.
Motor out?
Oh, yeah. Motor and gearbox in a different country.
Ooh,
Motor and
buddy,
gearbox are in Italy.
Sorry
yeah, they're in Italy. Yeah. Okay. It'll be a thing. It'll be real funny in 20 years.
Yeah.
It's not funny.
You need to open up a fourth storage location.
Now it's sad. It will eventually be funny, I promise. And I have an NSX, 2005 NSX.
Oh, do you? I just sold mine yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
On the site?
On the site.
What'd you get?
$74,000 for a 91 with 90,000 miles on it. Shout out to Art Cervantes, DWA Art. It was his car. It was it was his car. I bought it from him.
Wow. For a 91 with 90,000 miles?
Yeah.
That is a fabulous result.
It was a fabulous result. Matt Crandall, 911R, one of our power sellers, sold it for me.
I am going to be.
You're a local partner too.
I'm a local partner, and I'm going to be coming in. We have a car in the queue right now. It's a 430 Spider that's going up.
Oh, cool.
Which, other than aftermarket wheels, is actually quite a nice car. Black.
Is it here in the facility right now?
At the other side.
Okay.
But we got that, and then I'm going to actually talk to you about this because I got a 4-top coming in.
Okay.
I have one of my best clients here who wants to sell 4 cars at once.
Interesting.
And he's in Oregon.
Okay.
So he was asking about sending the cars down here. And I go, no, we're going to come to you and do it up there. But in order for it to be cost effective, I need you guys to run all 4, not quote simultaneous, but on the same day.
Yeah, we could do that.
Which of course you could do.
Of course.
No, but like, because
I'm your guy, Matt.
Because I literally will need to have to send someone to Oregon to sit there.
Yeah.
In case there's questions.
Also, it can get complicated. Somebody's got to be able to answer all the questions at the same time too.
I can't do it remotely. But if I have to send an employee to sit in Oregon for a week, that's cheaper than shipping 4 cars 100%. And clothes to California.
But basically, you're going to take the services you provide here and ship them up. Yeah.
Great. I've already done. I bought my NSX from this guy.
Okay, great.
The reason that's how I got started. He replaced my NSX with another NSX, which he's now going to sell.
Yes,
and it's an 05 blue.
Oh man, what's the interior color?
Don't know.
I
think it's blue.
If it's low mod, we've had some huge results on those blue fixed headlight. Yeah,
mine is a banger.
Yeah,
mine is an 05 with 20,000 miles. Yeah.
Those are big money cars
it's a
now.
Banger. Yeah,
they're great.
But I'm not selling it. I love it.
I'm glad you got one.
Great.
My colleague will never sell his, and I loved my car. I drove it 20,000 miles, and I freaking loved it.
And then I have my 718 Spider that has a demand motor in it. That actually is downstairs.
Oh, I saw that car at. The last time I saw you was at Luft Air in the Bay.
Yeah,
and you had that car there, didn't you?
Yeah, it was on the stand.
The air water car. Yeah.
It's actually going to be on a stand at this air water as well.
Wait, in like a month or something like that.
They're doing a mid-engine thing, so it's going to be on the stand for that.
You drive that a fair amount?
Yeah, I've got like 6,000 miles on it.
Killer.
Which for me is a bit.
How's that monster motor treating you?
It's the best.
It's the best.
Yeah. But then, my wife has a Mitsubishi Delica.
The little van, Japanese
L300,
van.
Low roof, captain's chairs, fabulous, absolutely fabulous.
She drive that a fair amount? Right-hand drive, right?
Right-hand drive, she drives it. It's got 52,000 kilometers on it, which is really
low mileage.
Low.
Low cams.
Really good. Yeah. And then she has a POW, a fabulous POW.
No kidding.
She has literally the nicest POW I've ever seen. 80,000 kilometers, but it's mint.
Those were both her choices, the POW and the Delica?
The van was her choice. Yeah. I got her the POW for her birthday 2 years ago, and she loves it. But that, to go back to Chris Harris and the 2CV, the Delica and the POW are both extremely, honest, simple.
You find charm in them, though, when you drive it.
Oh, they're the most charming. They're slow as shit. The POW is 57 horsepower.
It's a little turbo 4. I can't remember.
No, the Figaro got a turbo. The POW is NA.
POW is NA. Okay, that's right.
The Figaro is 80 horsepower with the turbo.
Yeah.
So if you break the POW, you can buy a
Figaro
complete Figaro engine assembly long block with turbo.
Yeah, your gears are turning on that one.
$1,800.
Totally. That's awesome. That's great.
No, that car, the powertrain, is such a piece of shit. But it's so great aesthetically. Yeah. It's so lovely that is the kind of thing that I would eventually invest the money in converting to an EV.
Oh, interesting.
To me, EV conversions.
Has that been done with one of those before?
I don't think so. But they've done minis. I mean, it would be. It would basically be adapting a mounting kit for whatever they're doing with a Mini.
Yeah, sure.
Pretty much.
Sure.
I mean, it's like, it's all the same, just sheet metal.
Yeah.
But, for me, the EV conversions of classic cars, they're great for cars where the gas powertrain is a liability and not an asset.
Sure.
Like, I'm not into like
What have
EV
you driven?
sports
What
cars.
have you driven in terms of EV conversions?
I've done a Shelby Cobra.
No kidding.
I've done a 911. I've done a classic like muscle car. It was a Camaro.
People doing a lot to Beetles and vans.
Yeah,
too, I
so
think.
the vans I totally
that makes
get.
total sense.
I totally get Beetles.
Yeah. How was the Cobra with an electric engine?
Awful.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, and not because it was made badly. It was just because like
the V8 is what you want. Yeah.
Who wants a Cobra? That like who wants that? And I feel the same way about the 911s.
Yeah.
Those type of cars aren't as good of EVs as my new EV.
Yeah.
And they don't give the vibe that I'm seeking from those types of cars.
Yeah.
But you show me a vintage Rolls or a big fin-tail Caddy or a Wagoneer, or something that's like just all style, all cruise, and the motor is just...
The motor's meant to be a big quiet thing anyways, right?
Yeah, where they attempted...
Rolls, you're not supposed to hear the engine, right?
Right, yeah. So like where they attempted refinement, but they were at the limit of their time.
Yep.
And you can now improve that refinement and the torque.
Mm-hmm.
That's like great. But like who cares about an EV sports car? And I love EVs.
I kind of tend to agree, but yeah. We're in a transitional period for some of that kind of stuff.
Well, and the same, 1,000 rich people hoover up every car.
Right.
So they need their 100th toy because on the third Saturday of the quarter, I flip a coin, and if it lands heads, I take my electric 911.
It is really fascinating how it's the same group of people moving all these cars around, isn't it? Yeah. It's fascinating. Yeah.
You've noticed this.
Oh,
right?
of course I have.
You have the data.
We know a lot of these people.
Yeah, for me, it's the vibe. You guys actually have the data. That it's the same, whether you go to the Quail, right? Like everybody...
No, it's like, that used to be my car, and then David had it, and then John had it, I bought it back.
Yeah, or in even the new stuff.
Yeah.
It's not, do you want a Koenigsegg or a Pagani? It's like, no, the same 7 guys just did a lap and put a deposit at every stand.
And some of them are like the patrons for these rich modern supercar makers, right? It's like Picasso had 4 guys, right? Like, it's
how much credit Jay-Z gets for like 5% of the nets. Meanwhile, like some dude no one's ever heard of owns like 70% of Koenigsegg.
Totally, man. Oh, man.
Just for the allocations. I swear to God.
Oh, man.
The Saudis are in with McLaren just for the allocations.
And Porsche can exert real pressure with their allocations. We see it on BAT, right? Like if people really care about those allocations, like a lot. Like a lot.
People buy bad cars that they don't want.
Right.
Because they're so afraid. Of not being.
And this is true of watches too, isn't it? Rolex kind of does the same thing, right? That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fascinating.
Not just Rolex, Patek.
Yeah,
anyone who's got a waiting list.
Yeah, totally.
They do it. Yeah,
totally.
For sure.
You talked a little bit about cruising around with your dad or watching him go to various stores and run his business. What got you into cars? Was he a car guy?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, he was a big James Bond guy, so he liked it from that angle.
Okay.
For me, it was just like. I mean, first it was when we brought home car magazines and stuff, and I realized that cars could be kind of special. And then it was like, I wasn't exactly an athlete when I was younger. I was okay in high school, but like young, I was like, nah, I was not an athlete. But
were you an auto shop guy? Were you tinkering with cars when you were a teenager?
Never.
No. Okay,
no.
interesting.
Driving. So when I was 9, my dad got me a go-kart, and that was it.
Yeah.
Now I'm going fast.
Yes.
And he was
taking it to tracks, or you're driving around the neighborhood?
No, so I was very fortunate, and we had a house that was nice. It wasn't super extravagant, and certainly not by today's standards, but it was on the top of this hill. And this was in Atlanta, Georgia, when I was a kid. On top of this hill, and I had a driveway that was 1/3 of a mile long.
Holy crap! Straight line, or it was weaving?
It had 4 or 5 corners.
Oh man, you were learning how to apex as a kid.
I literally had a hill climb.
That's amazing.
My driveway was a hill climb. And not only was it a hill climb, when you got to the top of the hill climb, it was essentially a skid pad. It was a long rectangular thing, the whole front of the house that was like a skid pad. It was better than a track.
Yeah.
I mean, it was literally better than a track.
Yeah.
And so I learned driving on that, and then my dad would let me
car control, momentum, all those things.
Yeah.
Those lessons, having those organically.
And actually, the skid pad was cool because there was no curbing around the edge of it. It was just asphalt into grass, and so
you could slide.
I'd hit the grass at full speed, and then I'd do a slide or a whatever on the grass. I wrecked the grass. So I had the grass and lots.
But your parents were indulgent with all that.
They didn't mind about the grass.
Okay,
they figured I would grow out of it, and I did eventually.
And then you start reading mags, and then what were the first cars that you were excited about? Do you remember?
I mean, the first car that I was excited about was the DeLorean.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I was like 5. I didn't like
first podcast I ever listened to was your podcast. I guess we're on ours technically here, but we're in your home here. It was you kind of live casting, selling your DeLorean on BAT.
Yeah, it was mad stressful.
And I think about it all the time. You said something about how every bid was a hit of heroin. I used that phrase yesterday when my car was selling. Anyway.
It was fun. I think.
Thank you for that. It was a great pod.
At the time,
my
I was
buddy
the only
recommended
person to turn a profit on a DeLorean, maybe ever.
It was a good result, as I recall. It was right
good.
after I'd started at BAT. It was about 10 years ago or so.
$58,000.
Amazing.
It was a very good result.
You were excited about that because of Back to the Future?
No, actually, no. The DeLorean, I got excited about the DeLorean before I saw Back to the Future.
No kidding.
The very first Road and Track magazine my dad ever bought me, which I still have, had the DeLorean on the cover.
Wow.
And so it was really that. And to this day, my love for the DeLorean and my love for Back to the Future are to, let's just say, take back this phrase for good, separate but equal.
Yeah, okay.
I do not, they don't cross.
They don't cross.
They don't cross, yeah. Which means I had to sell the DeLorean.
Yeah.
Because when someone would go, hey, does that thing do 88?
Of course.
I would feel a seething rage.
Of course. Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
There's probably a couple cars like that. I really would like a 308 GTB, and that's probably all you're going to get is Miami Vice jokes, right?
And it's even worse because I had a 328. And so now you have to correct.
Oh, no, it's not even a 308.
It's a 328. It's not a 308.
Did you like that car? Was that a good car?
I loved it.
Yeah, okay.
I did about 6,000 miles in about 3 years.
It was a GTS or GTB?
It was an S.
Okay. You might not be able to fit in a GTB.
No, I can fit in a GTB. I can't fit in a GTS with the roof on.
Oh, interesting. So you're always target top off, basically.
And I did, on mine, I cut the seat rails. I did what is called the Magnum PI mod, where they cut the seat rails.
Oh, because Sullivan was a tall guy, too.
Yeah. Listen, it only gets you a half inch, but when it's all you got, you take it all.
You take it all, for sure.
The car is fabulous.
Yeah.
It's such a great car. If you want a Ferrari to put miles on.
That's what I want.
To really drive. Road trips.
Yes. Tens of thousands of miles. Yes, that's what I'd like to do.
That is the car for you. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the 308 either. Yeah. And I, if you prefer.
Well, the GTBs are all the early carb. They're never going to pass smog. It's the carb cars. So I really like the fixed roof, the lines of it. I think they're so beautiful.
There are 328 GTBs.
Oh, I know. They're very rare.
They're expensive.
Yes.
But I think driving with the top off is a pretty glorious experience. Yeah. And I like that. The torque of the 28 is much better than the 308. It's a way faster car.
Yours was there's a distinction where they have ABS. The later ones are.
Mine was a non-ABS. Mine was an 86. So it was a first year
the wheels
car.
are dished or something,
so
right?
So early, the last year with ABS, the
yeah.
wheels are the ugly convex
wheels.
Okay,
that's
what I don't like those wheels. Yeah. Mine ultimately all in is I'm the way I'm not good at investing in cars. My goal is to enjoy them for 100%. cheap as I can.
Yep.
So it costs me around 70 cents a mile to own and operate that car, and it would have cost less if I had gotten a better PPI before I bought it.
Yeah. Okay.
There was a lot of things that were wrong with it that the PPI did not.
And those cars were cheap. People deferred maintenance on them.
Yeah. And spending more money would not have been a guarantee of getting a better car.
Sure.
But spending more money on a better PPI might have ultimately resulted in a better thing. But once I got the car sorted, God, was that thing
They're
awesome.
well built. I used to work on 3S. They're really well put together. They're solid cars.
You know what's really well built are Testarossas.
No kidding.
Testarossas are fabulous.
You've got that one downstairs there. You like driving them too?
If you want a Ferrari to road trip, They ride well. They're comfortable.
There was a time there when they weren't too terribly expensive too. That's a little bit over now, but
they are expensive,
yes.
and I think probably justifiably so.
Yeah.
I mean, they're basically half the price of the entry point into a Countach, which I think is justified.
Yeah.
They drive really nice. The flat 12 isn't as exciting sounding, but it is effective.
Yeah.
And if you want to put miles in a car, a 328 or a Testarossa is.
I just really want a gated car. I used to work on them, but I haven't driven on. Do you like Gallardo 6-speeds? Okay.
I mean, I don't fit in them so well.
Yeah.
I like the R8s better.
It's tough even with 2 pedals to fit in those cars.
The R8s are better.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And if you really want to have a laugh, find a right-hand drive gated Gallardo.
Oh, interesting.
It is laughably bad.
What?
It's so. And if it's a Spider, like, forget it, dude. You're not getting in that car. Yeah. But the V10, that architecture car, that is a fabulous gated experience.
They're nice. They're small. They're a cool car. I've always liked Gallardos.
Ferrari gearboxes are quirky. Like, all gated Ferrari gearboxes, you have to skip shift second until the engine's totally warm.
It's been
stuff
15
like
years or so since I've driven one, but bringing it down and for the gear lever's real long on a 308.
It's incredibly satisfying.
Yes, it's really satisfying.
It doesn't get old.
They have the little dinky key to the 328. Have the little dinky key
if you
too.
Think that key is dinky. No, the 328
has a full size
key. Same as the Testarossa. The 308 key is bullshit.
Yeah, totally.
My Countach key looks like it opens a fucking storage. I mean, it's a joke. You can't believe they sold this car for $100,000 with this key like this.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What was the first video content? Did you have kind of an artistic background? As I recall, you were a photography student.
I was a photography
right?
student. Yeah, I was a photography major. I was like that. Still love it.
Still take pictures?
Not like artsy stuff so much, but it does come in handy for work.
I bet. Oh, dude, just being able to frame a shot or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
I set up a lot of shots. It does come in handy. I'm sure. Yeah. The first real, I mean, there was like the StreetFire stuff.
Yeah, I'm wondering about pairing that with cars. I remember you were early on that stuff.
Yeah, I suppose. The first like editorial car content that ever spoke to me was when I first started seeing like torrents of Top Gear.
Yeah, okay.
Like from finalgear.com and stuff like that. Probably this would have been 06, 07 maybe. Because there were clips on
pre-YouTube even, right?
No, it was concurrent with YouTube.
Okay.
But you could not get whole episodes of Top Gear.
Right, okay.
Top Gear was still like airing.
It was hard to find. I remember that.
Yeah, and it was airing on the BBC.
Yes, right.
So you couldn't just upload that shit to YouTube. So they would steal it, however, and put it on Final Gear. And I would download it every week. They would air on whatever Sunday night, and you'd get it the next morning, and I would download it, and I'd watch like a television show. And so that was the best of that kind of content.
And arguably some of the best of all time, right? I mean, it's like
still was, yeah. But it was like, here's that, and it very quickly became, well, how do we make our version of that for less money? And other people had the same idea.
Which was you and buddies, or you were putting together?
I mean, it was driven by me.
Yeah.
At the time, I was running this car wash with my friend Larry Casilla, who now has a product line called Ammo and does videos. And
does amazing YouTube videos.
Yeah,
Everyone loves his vids.
It was funny. He was the detailer and I was the marketing guy. And when YouTube came out, we started making videos to promote the shop. I very quickly realized how much more I enjoyed making videos than running a car wash. So I went off to do that. I sold my half of the shop to Larry. I eventually went back to teach Larry how to make videos to promote the shop, and now we work together on various.
And you just figured it out organically, kind of.
It's a long story that would take a half hour.
No, I'm not. You don't have to tell me.
When we first started doing YouTube, we thought it would be a rolling audition reel for television.
Oh, interesting.
We wanted to be on cable TV.
Yeah, okay.
And that was probably a realistic thing to think at the time. And then within a couple of years, it became obvious that cable TV was not going to be what we thought it was, and after doing some cable TV, we're like, oh, actually, this stinks.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So we stayed on the internet and then branched out into other things like podcasting and whatnot.
And you were, again, like I said, first podcast I ever listened to. I went right to Mark Maron and Obama after you because that was the only other one I'd ever heard of, right? Like that was the famous podcast. So listen to Matt Farah, then go over and listen to Mark Maron and Obama. And I've been hooked ever since. I freaking love podcasts now. But thanks for being the entry point.
But that was the Democratic ticket for 2020. Me, Mark Maron, and Obama. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, totally. But that was because I just started at BAT, and my colleague Zach was like, hey, you got to listen to this. And I think you drove one of his cars back in the day when you were doing your
GT3, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah,
Good memory. Do you remember how you first stumbled across Bring a Trailer? I know you've had Randy on the show a couple times, but was it pre-auctions?
Oh yeah, it was in like the beginning.
Yeah,
like it was.
He turned it on in 2007, so it's been around for 18 years.
This would have been in the very first year because in 2007 I was working at Next New Networks with Mike Spinelli, JF Musial, Tom Morningstar, Gene Sanchez, and a bunch of people that went on to do other important car things, and one who went on to go to prison. And it was the newsletter. It wasn't even, I don't even think it was a website. I think it was just a newsletter first.
You would get the email. Yeah, you get the email every morning.
It was Spinelli had the email, or I remember at the time Spinelli had like the ultimate list of RSS feeds. You could just like import his RSS feeds and you'd have this like custom browser that would just populate with like the world's car news every day.
Yeah.
And one of the RSS feeds was like the original version of Bring a Trailer.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah, this was, it was within a month or two of it starting.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was very early.
And you were obviously an early champion or supporter. You sold cars early on. That DeLorean must have been in the first couple thousand lots. We've done 180,000.
No, I sold the DeLorean in 2015.
Yeah,
so that wasn't that early.
Auctions 2014 is when it started. You were early on. You were early on. I remember how excited when you brought your Mustang. Everyone was excited about that in the office. We were a much smaller company back then.
When I sold that car, we were able to. I gave half the money to charity.
To charity, I remember that.
Yeah, we were able to pay an animal shelter's rent.
I remember that.
A year. Which was nice.
Almost positive I was the editor on that draft. I remember it well. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Oh yeah.
That car's now, it's been around.
Yeah. Do you know what happened to the DeLorean?
I know that it was sold to a gentleman in Bavaria, in Germany.
Really?
So that guy not only paid quite a handsome price for that money, plus for that car, I got 58. This was in 2015.
Yeah.
58 plus buyer's premium, plus shipping to Germany, plus VAT, whatever VAT is over there. This guy must have paid fucking probably 80 grand, said and done for this DeLorean. And someone had sent me a photo of it. He had driven it to a Cars and Coffee, someone in Bavaria, and was driving it around with the California plates.
That's amazing.
Which is pretty ballsy to do in Germany. They don't really stand for that kind of stuff,
totally.
But good for them.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude. Talk to me a little bit about the services that your company provides here for people who want to sell. Like I said earlier, you're one of the BAT's local partners. And
thanks for reminding me.
They were hustling down there, man.
Well, we do things a little differently than some of the other partners. We don't take commission.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, we don't take commission. Our services are flat fee. So
do you have to be a customer to get it?
No.
Okay, interesting.
So, but you phrase that in an interesting way because the answer is no, but yes. And what I mean by that is when people approach us and, hey, I would like you to help me sell my car and bring a trailer. We offer what we call a concierge sellers program. Basically, it's drop and go, right?
Hand the key.
You hand us the key, you hand us the title, you hand us the service records, and we go to work. We detail the car, we photograph the car, we scan the records, we redact the thing.
And that's being done right down here. Yeah,
here
okay.
Or in our other location.
You can do it at either place.
Yeah, whichever is convenient, doesn't matter. We do all of that stuff. We submit it to you guys. We go do the back and forth. I personally do the cold start and driving videos.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I do those. And then from when we submit it, we then manage it. We answer all the comments. People want extra photos, extra video, extra this, extra that. And we do all of it. And then we connect buyer and seller. And then we help arrange shipping.
That's you doing a lot of that? Or do you have one of your staffers doing it? Or it's a mixture?
I'm making the video. I'm building the listing. And I'm watching the listing when it's live. We have photographers. We have our detailers.
Yeah, sure.
Those guys are doing that stuff. But I am personally doing every single listing. Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty good service, and we do charge a flat fee. And the flat fee is based entirely on the amount of work that it takes to do this.
Sure.
It's roughly 20 hours of work. That's what it is. Whether we do it or whether you do it, it's about 20 hours of work. And whether it's a Lamborghini or a 1992 Jeep Wrangler, it's the same 20 hours of work.
Yeah, that's
and so, some people would rather work on a commission because the vehicle is only $20,000 or $30,000, and to give us, $4,000 is like what? But If it's $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, well, that's way better to give us the flat fee than to do. So it's not for everybody, and we can do bits and pieces a la carte.
Yeah.
And when I say it's a loaded question, because it does include a month of storage.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So from when you drop the car, we hang on to it until the auction ends.
But in practice, are most of the folks who are utilizing it already customers, kind of?
No, it's like,
interesting.
No, I mean, it certainly started that way.
Yeah.
It started even before we thought about being BAT local partner. It was literally like, well, we had customers that were maybe going to move out because they were maybe going to sell their car.
Oh.
And I thought, well, if they're moving out because they want to sell the car, maybe I can help them sell the car.
Sure.
And if they're going to leave anyway, maybe we can get some money on the way out the door.
Yeah.
I mean, it started out like that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, actually, this is a good, because when you have a limited number of places to keep cars here, it's all about, well, okay, now how can I squeeze this lemon a different way now that I've maxed out my square footage? So this became a thing. And then I emailed, I forget if it was Zach or Randy or who. And I said, hey, I think it's time I become a local partner because I'm doing more and more of this. And now I'd say it's 50-50 in-house people.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that outside people are coming in. That's great.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I don't know what you've been seeing, but in the last month, like we've been local partner for like 6-7 months now, I think. And I'm sure there's like some kind of awareness.
It takes a little time.
Happens.
And also your team has to build the skill set too, right? Like it's actually, to your point, it's hard to sell online well,
but
right?
Just in terms of pure incoming requests.
Yeah, okay.
It was like 2 or 3 a month, but then February and March is like 12, 15.
I'm stoked to hear that.
I mean, that's good, but also
because also overwhelm you a little bit.
Well, I mean, we can't handle all of them, and a lot of them they find out the price or they don't like whatever. And okay, fine, but it does make me a little bit concerned about. Is there something happening in the car market that we really need?
Oh, you mean people are going to try to dump?
If everyone's trying to dump all their cars because they are financially insecure or whatever, that could be bad too. Yeah, I mean, it could be good if I'm turning around. It could be good for me personally, but I don't want things to be good for me.
We all want the car market to be stable and for people to be, stoked to buy and sell cars.
I mean, but nevertheless, like, if you're trying to do all those things yourself. If that's not what you do, it's a pain in the ass.
It's hard. I mean, we were just over at Rob Dietz, like these guys who've been so successful, just the logistics of scaling these things up are crazy. Warehouse after warehouse, right?
I mean, and that's his whole business. But, we can only handle so many.
Of course.
I think we're probably maxed out at maybe 4 a month.
What's your total staff between all the businesses? Do you have 11? Okay. All right. You're running pretty lean.
Between the two stores.
Yeah.
2 stores, 7 days a week. Yeah. But our other store doesn't have third shift.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But going from, a business that just exists on the internet, and is just me and Zach. Yeah. To a business that's brick and mortar. Totally. With employees and workers comp. All of it. All this crazy stuff. Are
you your own HR department, Matt?
We now have one. Oh, okay. For 5 years, I've been my own HR department, and I don't like to add complexity until we need it.
But you got to learn a few things.
Finally, so now we have that kind of stuff. But like, to go from nothing to 7 days a week, 2 location brick and mortar is a real.
But you said it's not sucking up too much of your time, which is good, right? Or it's increasing.
I don't have to sit here all day every day, but that doesn't mean it doesn't live in my head all the time.
I'm sure it does. Yeah, it's always in there.
Like there is no escape.
How often are you in this room? How often are you potting? You do it a couple times a week?
2 episodes a week. 90 minutes. Yeah, we're actually. Sunday is episode 1000.
Somebody mentioned that to me. Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah.
BAT staff loves your show. I hear about it all the time when you have guests on. So you're a staff favorite.
2012. We've been
amazing. Early on.
Yeah. When my friend Chris first was like, you guys should do a podcast. I was like, everyone already is doing a podcast in 2012. And it wasn't everyone.
Well, now
like
it's
3 people.
Now it's even worse. Now, even Bring a Trailer has a podcast. Terrible. How often are you on the other side of the mic? How often you get interviewed?
I was interviewed yesterday.
Okay, so a lot maybe.
Yeah, a couple times a week.
Okay.
Probably. I don't know why. I don't think I'm that.
You're a great talker, man. Everyone wants to hear from you. Yeah, your name pops up all the time.
I have to talk a lot.
Well, you're good at it.
Thanks. I'm glad I'm good at something.
You're good at a lot of things, dude. Really appreciate you doing this.
Of course.
I really, really appreciate it. Anything people should know about before?
I mean, look, if you're in LA and you need to keep your car somewhere safe, ship your car somewhere, sell your car on Bring a Trailer, we have all kinds of concierge level services we offer, and you don't need to have a crazy fancy car. I mean, we have cars in this building and our other building that are worth well into the seven figures, and we have cars that are worth $30,000 or $40,000, and both of those people pay exactly the same for the thing that we do, and they're both equally happy with what we do. So WCCS.com.
Yeah, we'll post a picture of the water bottle on there.
Yeah, WCCS.com is where you find all that stuff, and of course, The Smoking Tire on YouTube and podcast and Instagram.
Where did that name come from, if you don't mind one
The
more
Smoking
question?
Tire?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Oh, it's from, do you remember the smoking gun back in the day?
100%,
The
yeah.
tour riders?
Yeah, uh-huh.
I mean, it was that, but for cars, with the double entendre being that it's, burnouts.
Yeah, of course.
It took a very long time to come up with that name.
Well, it's
I
a
have
good one.
one of my early notebooks that has page after page after page after page of attempts at names. It took probably 6 months.
Well, it's a great one. A memorable name is more important than
really
it gets.
important. And I was literally just talking to someone else who was like about the name of the thing and how it could pigeonhole them.
100%.
And the person I was talking to was like, you mean like how my Instagram is like Porsche girl? And I was
totally.
like, yeah, exactly like that. Exactly.
Totally.
That exact thing.
Totally. Well, thanks so much,
right.
dude. I really appreciate it. Thanks for
Thank you for
hosting
coming.
us.
Of course.
What a lovely place to be.
What is a studio for if not to record?
It's this.
All right.
Appreciate you,
later.
dude. Cheers. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And please don't ever hesitate to reach out to podcast@bringatrailer.com with questions, concerns, feedback. Happy to send you Matt's personal cell phone number if you want that too.